Hey, hello guys. This is Priya from Alpha Group of Institutions, and welcome back to our social e-class, and welcome to the geography session. And this is, I think, it's a part 3 session, right, children? We have already completed 2 sessions on this chapter, that is land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife. So today, what we are going to learn, instead of directly going to the other session, to the next part, let us just recollect what all we had learned in the last session. In the first session, we have discussed about land, children, right? Land means it is like one of the most important natural resources that living being need for survival. And about 30% of the total area of the surface of our planet is occupied by the land. Still, not all parts of the land is worth building habitats, right? And we have discussed about the land and the uses of land. Uses of land means like what people depend on the land for different usages of land, like they use the land for mining, building roads, for building houses, building factories, industries, forestries, and like building factories, setting up of factories, agricultural, among others. And all these processes are called as what? Land use. And we had come to know what are the uses of land in human life. And the usage of land is determined into different factors such as water availability also, right? Topography, climate, minerals, and soils, how they influence in the formation of the soil, right? The next, we had seen some pictures which is related to the land usage, isn't it, guys? Next, what we had learned, conservation of land. Conservation of land resources. So, as the population grows, the different demands of people also increase, it also grows equally. So because of this, what happens? The destruction of land and forest also start according to, because of the large scale, right? And this also led to the fear of losing the natural resources. And that is why our government needs to introduce many laws just to keep a check, just to keep a measurement on the process of land degradation. Then only we can do any precautions, right? And regulated use of fertilizers and chemical pesticides, land reclamation, introducing measures to control overgrazing and afforestation are some of the measures to conserve land resources which our government started to implement, isn't it, children? Yes. Next, what is it? Soil. When we are talking about the soil, soil is a thin layer of powdered substance which is covered on the earth's surface. And we had seen the different types of soil, like the soil is determined by different landforms, the weathered rocks, minerals, organic matter, and all those things which are responsible for the soil formation, right? And here we will just note that 1 centimeter, to form a 1 centimeter of soil, it takes hundreds of years. How many years? It takes hundreds of years to form just 1 centimeter of soil, and this is the universal fact. Okay, when we had read that the types of soils and the factors of soil formation, how the climate influences soil, the temperature, rainfall influence, rate of weathering, and human formation influence the formation of soil, time, determination, thickness of soil profile, flora, fauna, and microorganisms, relief, and parent rock, all these join together in the formation of soil. Right, children? Now, how they are doing their actions? Parent rock, it is responsible for determining chemical properties, permeability, color, mineral content, and texture. Second one, flora, fauna, and microorganisms. It is responsible for affecting humus formation rate. Next one is time. It determines how thick the soil profile would be. Fourth one, relief. Slope and altitude are responsible for determining how the soil would get accumulated. Number 5, climate. The climate factors such as rainfall and temperature are responsible for influencing formation of humus and weathering rate. The next thing what we have learned is degradation of soil and measures of conservation. So we have come across some of the methods that can be used to conserve, right? What are those things? Mulching, rock dam, contour barriers, shelter belts, terrace farming, intercropping, contour ploughing. So these are the methods. These are only some of the methods which can be used to conserve the soil, right? Later we have come across water. What is the main points in water which we had learned? It is that it is water is a necessary renewable resource, and it covers almost 3/4 of the earth's surface, and our planet is also addressed as a water planet. And around 3.5 billion years back, life began for the first time in the waters of the primitive oceans, right? And fresh water occupies more than 2.7% of the total available amount of water, which is really very, very low. And approximately 70% of water is available in the form of ice sheets and glaciers in Greenland. Later, water in very huge amounts is utilized by human beings for process such as washing, drinking, and production. This is how we came across the usage of water, importance of water in a human life, and later conservation of water resources. In the conservation of water resources, what we have learned, children, that the world is facing a major problem as like to access the scarcity of water, the scarcity of clean water, which has become impossible, right? The government is also taking many steps to save the sources of water. Even though water is a renewable resources, still our pollution and overuse, I mean unnecessary use of water is making, like it's making unfit to use. Discharge of untreated sewage, chemical waste and waste from factories are few of the major sources of water pollution. So this is how we have learnt about the water scarcity and conservation of water. The next what we have learnt is natural vegetation and wildlife, and we came across the biosphere and how the animals acts as an example of scavengers because they are one of the most important cleaners. Animals are one of the most important cleaners or cleansers of the environment, and all animals irrespective of their size are important in maintaining balance in this ecosystem, right children? And today we are going to discuss about natural vegetation, that is distribution of natural vegetation. And here is a picturized representation of natural vegetation. The first one is deciduous forest and the second one is evergreen forest. So when we go into detail, let us explain what is a natural vegetation, isn't it children? Okay, let us discuss about the natural vegetation first. And here when we start talking about distribution of natural vegetation, first of all, what is that about children? The growth of vegetation in a region is interdependent. They are not depending, right? So when the growth of vegetation in particular region depends on each other, like on moisture and temperature. So the moisture and temperature is equally dependent on each other. They are interrelated for a growth, right? The vegetation types found across the globe all over the world are grouped into scrubs, forest, tundra and grasslands. So when we are taking a note or when you are taking a survey from all over the globe, the vegetation types are found. Like the vegetation types found are like the what all the things were found are grouped into some of the things like scrubs, forest, tundra and grasslands. And those areas which face heavy rainfall, they are huge. There what happened, the huge trees get a chance to thrive. So the areas which face a very big rainfalls, in such areas a very big trees are there, right? Huge trees get a chance to thrive. And the forests are associated with areas that have water supply in abundance. The forests become abundance where they get the more amount of water. And now in an area, if the amount of moisture decreases, density and size of the trees found there also decreases. This is a natural thing what we have to understand, right children? Wherever the water availability is more, for sure the growth of the trees will be more and thicker, right? So in some of the regions, if the water is the availability of water is very low, the moisture is very low, the growth of the tree all trees also decreases. It just looks like a thin film, like what we are having at present. Now grasses and short stunted trees can be found in those regions which have moderate rainfall. There are the grassland regions. So the area which we are living currently is that we are having only moderate rainfall. So here we can see grasses and short small trees can be found. So this type of area is called grassland regions. Scrubs and thorny shrubs can be found growing in dry areas that have low rainfall. So, the plants which can grow even there is a very less amount of water, those plants are scrubs and thorny shrubs. You know, no, thorny shrubs means all those plants which will be having thorns all over it, right? Those thorny plants will grow only where it is dry and if there is no available of water. So those plants are called thorny shrubs, and these shrubs can also be found growing in where dry areas where low rainfall, low moisture, low water availability. Okay, and plants of these regions have deep roots and their leaves have thorny and waxy surface, which in turn prevents moisture during the process of transpiration. So these thorny plants will have deep roots. Their roots go very deep into the ground to lock the moisture which is present under the ground, and they just develop some thorns and also a wax coating like thing on their leaf just to save the moisture which is present in the leaves during the process of what, photosynthesis, right? And cold polar regions have tundra vegetation that have lichens and mosses. In the current era, now in this present period, we have more population who are living on the earth than it was 3 centuries back. When we compare the population, current population with 3 centuries back population, what happened, we have more population now when we are comparing present region to when compared to the previous period, that is 3 centuries back. So in order to feed, in order to supply food for all these large sections of people, group very big uh, population, authorities have been forced to clear vast amount of forest land so that crops can be grown. So previously in those period, population is very less. Population was very less. So the place is very enough for them to live. Now the population has grown more, and there is no place, and we have to survive. We can't live without food, right? Food and shelter. So in order to provide food and shelter for the growing population, the government has to take action, and that is why they are just just cutting down the trees, they are clearing the forest in order to arrange some lands for agriculture purpose. And due to this, forest cover has started disappearing. Because of this, forest has started disappearing. Forests are a vulnerable resource that needs to be conserved. Forest is a precious thing. Forests are the treasure which we have to save. But because our overgrowing population and unnecessary use of land and water, we are just spoiling, destroying the forest in order to conserve them. Understood, children? Now let us look into the conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife. So conservation means how we have to save the natural vegetation and wildlife. Changes of climate and human interferences can cause the loss of natural habitats for the plants and animals. Many species have become vulnerable or endangered, and some are on the verge of extinction. Deforestation, soil erosion, constructional activities, forest fires, tsunami, and landslides are some of the human made and natural factors which together accelerate the process of extinction of these great natural resources. The animals are poached for collection and illegal trade of hides, skin, nails, teeth, horns, as well as feathers. And if you look into the detail like conservation of natural vegetation and wildlife, forests are an example of wealth provided to us by nature. Forests are the only wealth, treasure which is provided for us by the nature. And plants are responsible for providing shelter for animals which is found in the wild, which is found in the forest area. Together, they are responsible for maintaining the ecosystem. Together means forest and plants are both responsible for maintaining the ecosystem. Interference means by our interference, human interference by humans in various forms, and climatic change have resulted in animals and plants losing their natural habitats because our human greediness, because of our human activities, unnecessary activities. There we have created some changes in the climate, so that had resulted like the plants and animals have to lose their natural habitats. That is, the natural habitat is what? Forests. If the forests are destroyed, the food and shelter for the animals and birds will automatically get destroyed, right? And several species have become endangered and vulnerable. Many of them are on the verge of becoming extinct as well, because we humans are hunting them for need, skin, teeth, nails, and all. And because of all that illegal things, also the animals are getting into an endangered state. And some of the major reasons, some of the most important reasons due to which the forest resources are being destroyed are: first thing is forest fire, deforestation, landslides, soil erosion, tsunami, constructional works. Somehow or the other, we are the main responsible for all these types of depletions. And another big concern is poaching. When the wild animals are hunted in an illegal manner means without the knowledge of other people and government, people used to do it secretly. And illegal manner which is against the government rules is illegal manner, and that hunting of animals and killing the animals without government's permission, it is called poaching. And due to this, Many wildlife species are going extinct. They are in the endangered stage. The animals found in the wild are poached on a major scale in order to collect for what? We are just killing and hunting them only just to collect feathers, nails, horns, skins, hides, and fur. So, some of the examples for such poached animals are, first one is elephant. We are killing the elephants for tusks, right? And second thing is tiger. Tiger for skin, fur, nails, and teeth. And black buck, snow leopard, rhinos, peacocks, vultures, ostriches, and lions. All these animals were being hunted by some of the human illegally. And we can protect the species by taking appropriate measures. That is why government is trying to save these animals by giving some punishments, and also making them like catching those animals and making them to grow in a sanctuary where no one can enter and hunt them, right? And biosphere reserves. National parks and wildlife sanctuaries have been introduced in order to protect wildlife and natural vegetation. What are the things which were introduced to protect wildlife and natural vegetation? Those are biosphere reserves and national parks. And it is one of the most important thing to save these wetlands, creeks and lakes in order to save these resources from getting destroyed because of this human and also as well as climatic conditions. And if we people do not disturb the species of wildlife, the animals in the wild, there will always remain a balance in wildlife. When we are living in our own style and when we are not disturbing the forest and animals, there will be an ecological balance which will be balanced according to the nature without any scarcity or natural disasters. And habitats belonging to wildlife have been distributed on a large scale due to human human greedy activities only. And several animals and birds and also animals have gone, so many animals and birds have gone extinct and are also on the verge, or they're just on the line of extinction, that because of this indiscriminate killing which was carried out by the humans, and some were already gone and some are staying in the edge line of extinction only because of the human activities. And at community and regional level, the authorities should encourage programs like One Mahotsav and social forestry. School children like you guys must be introduced to the concept of bird watching. They should visit forest camps to know about habitats of wildlife beings. The students are asked to just visit the wildlife to know the habitats, how they are living in the wildlife. And many countries have made laws against killing of animals and birds as well as the trading also. So many countries had introduced new types of rules, new types of laws to stand for the animals and birds as well as the business trading which is related to the animals, and they want to save their animals, and because of that these countries, this government introduced some of the laws. And killing of animals such as peacocks, lions, deers, great Indian bustards, and tigers is illegal in our country also. Even in our India also, the killing of peacocks, lion, deer, great Indian bustards, and tigers, and recently even the squirrels also must not be hunted or killed. Cranes, birds, cranes, I think you all people know, right? You all guys know that even we have those restrictions when we are killing such animals, and it is also strictly prohibited, and we are also following those rules and laws. The convention on international trade is like in endangered species. CITES. It means CITES means Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. These CITES of wild flora and fauna, wild animals and birds and water living beings has been established. It contains a list of several species of birds and animals whose trade is banned, and it is the ethical duty of every person on this planet to conserve our natural resources. This is an organization, children, CITES. In this CITES organization, they have a very big list. In that list, some types of animals, birds, even fishes, insects, reptiles, everything, they had made a very big list. And according to this list, if anyone is trying to hunt or kill, even if anyone want to grow such species without the government's knowledge, they will be punished according to the law. And this is, we have to take responsibility again, and we have to feel it as our duty to save the animals, wildlife, forest, which is related to our region and our earth. Understood, children? And children, these are the things which had been collected from some of the news, that is forest fire. All these were happened only because of what? Because of the human activities only. So these natural disasters which had like created a very big loss of forest, wildlife, and even some problems for the people who were residing near that, right? These are the news which shows the natural disasters which occurred only because of the human negligence. And along with that, let me read the glossary points. Just listen to me, guys. Weathering: the breaking up and decay of exposed rocks by temperature changes, frost action, plants, animals, and man. National Park: a natural area designated to protect the ecological integrity of one or more ecosystems for present and future generations. Biosphere reserves: series of protected area linked through a global network intended to demonstrate the relationship between conservation and development. So these are the glossary points, and here comes the activity part, guys. Yes, this is the activity, and with this we had completed the chapter. We had completed this chapter, land, soil, and today's activity part is you have to read the question answers which we have given in the classwork content. There are only 5 questions in the classwork, right? The textbook book back questions. So you have to read all 1 to 5 questions. Along with the question you have to read, and then take a rough note, write the questions, and write a home test. After reading those 5 questions, write a home test and then correct with a pencil, get a sign from your parent, and then you have to post it in the group. So this is the activity for today, and with this activity we have completed the lesson land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife resources from geography, and this is chapter 2. Chapter 1 we have already finished. Chapter 2 we are going to finish with this activity, and today is the last session for chapter 2. Once again, let me say the heading of the lesson: land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife resources. And today's activity is the question answers which we have already given for you in the PDF format, that is 1 to 5 question answers. You have to read each and every word along with the spellings. After reading, write a home test. Write a home test. Later, correct it with a pencil. Get a sign from your parent. And after getting the signature of your parent, take a snap and then post it in the group. That's all, children. So with this, the chapter is over. Thank you for being with me, and stay home, stay safe, children. Save our soil, save our nature, save our wildlife, and save our forest. And we have a hope that this, that is your generation, will sure get yourself introduced to the nature, and you have to try some new measures to conserve our nature, which is always giving only good for us, and we are taking everything positive from the nature, and we have to avoid giving negativity to the nature in return. Okay, and that's all, guys. Thank you, thanks a lot. This is Priya signing off from Alpha Group of Institutions. Thank you, guys. Bye.